So in the last broadcast, exactly 2 weeks ago, on the 8th of this month, we talked about a potential trend reversal from the DXY, and as a result, a potential trend reversal for the rest of the market. And this today, I'm just going to be diving straight in to show you how that so far has been playing out, how the DXY responded after our broadcast, and how the market has been responding as well. I'll be talking briefly on what is currently happening in the Bitcoin market as well, as to why the Bitcoin market seems not to be responding to the current potential trend reversal. And basically that's just going to be me for today. So welcome again to Crypto Reality. It's your boy Pedro again, and on the 8th of this month, exactly 2 weeks ago, we were here, and the last two broadcasts, I talked about this trend line, which was a very pivotal trend line in the market. I talked about the fact that the close below this trend line would definitely mean that markets are going to rally. And on the 8th, we're talking about it on the 8th, and I talked about the fact that the most likely scenario, that it was either going to be a bounce or a breakthrough. And a bounce from here would mean the market will struggle if it consolidates for a while, and a breakthrough below this would mean the markets are going to rally. And I talked about the fact that I talked about my stance. I talked about the most likely scenario, which was to be a bounce, to be a breakthrough below this trend line. I said the close of that day was going to be very, very pivotal, because the market was, the previous day, the market just sort of closed on that trend line. So the 8th of November was to be a pivotal day. The close of that day was to be a pivotal day to see if the market was going to decide. It was a decisive point in the market as to a close or a bounce from this trend line, since the previous day was just on the trend line itself. So I envisaged a potential breakthrough, a close below it, because I talked about the latest price action around that region. I'm going to be putting that in the description section, so you can take a look at the reason why the most likely scenario was a breakthrough rather than a bounce from this point. I talk about the behavior of the market, the price action of the market around this region, this period. And funny enough, just an hour after making that broadcast, the market sold off massively. The following hour, I made the broadcast between I think between 1 and 2 UTC, and as from 2 UTC, the market sold off massively, and that was the beginning of a massive sell-off and a breakdown. Here's the candle. Okay, not this. I'll be going back to memory lane briefly, so you can have a look. That happened on the 8th. Here it is. Yes, I think around this. Yes, this is it. This is around this period. We had this massive sell-off. From. Let me switch over to the 4-hour time frame also, so that you can see how massive that sell-off was. That close was below the we had this massive sell-off here at this point. We had this massive sell-off from this point, and then we had the retracement. The day closed, we had this rounded retest, and we had this massive sell-off again on the 2 days later on Thursday. And excuse me, on the daily time frame, can see that yes, the day closed below that that trend line. On Tuesday we had a rounded retest. We have not really a rounded retest, but we had an almost immediate retest to that level on Thursday, and you can see the massive sell-off that has taken place so far on the DXY, and you can see how the rest of the market has reacted in like manner. Here's the 8th, and here's the 10th. That's for the Euro USD. Market has massively sold off from that point, and the reason why we're currently seeing what seems to be like a potential retracement from the market is because the market there was a high probability of the market reacting on getting to this level, and here's why the market is currently reacting. Here's why the market is currently in a slow the market is currently slowing down. It's currently like retracing. We're seeing a little bit of struggle from the market because there's a little bit of strength, interim strength, which seems to be more like a retracement for the market, for the markets and for DXY as well. Here's why this level is very, very critical. We're going to be heading back in memory lane. The starts of the first time this level was tested was on the 12th of May. We had or the 13th of May rather. By the 13th of May, we had this level, this region acted as resistance, and that happened again on the 15th of June, like a month later, and we finally broke above after a serious struggle around that level, acting as resistance. We finally broke above it on 5th of July, and I remember that day very well. There was a massive sell-off from the market, especially the Euro USD, and we had a rounded retest to flip this region back to support back in August, just like roughly a month, less than a month later, and we consolidated around that region again until we took off again in August, and we rallied up, and we're back to this level again. So this level has acted as resistance and as support multiple times within the last 6 months, dating back to May. So we're talking about 6 months of play of retests. We're retesting this level both as resistance and as support on multiple occasions within the last 6 months. So this level has been a very pivotal level. So the interesting thing about what's happening right now is the fact that a retest to this level is likely to form, is likely to complement our earlier broadcasts, the potential reversal that we're talking about. And you can see that we're likely to see what seems to be like a potential head and shoulders pattern around this level. Here's the weekly time frame. Here's the first shoulder. Here's the head. Potential. Remember, this is a potential head and shoulders pattern that is looking likely to be forming on the DXY. So this is the left shoulder, the head, and this is looking likely to be a potential right shoulder. Here it is again, clearly shown on the daily time frame as well. Here's the right shoulder, the left shoulder, the head, and here's a potential left shoulder pattern on the DXY. And if this is going to play out, it is going to be a retracement as it's likely seems to be at the moment. We need to see DXY head further down south and take out this region and then flip it back to support and resistance, and that would mean further weakness for the DXY and strength for the rest of the cryptocurrency and the rest of the financial market in general. So here's how Euro USD is responding in like manner, like we've always agreed in the past, that the Euro USD is like a mirrored version of the DXY, and you can see that that is playing out once again inch perfectly on the Euro USD charts. Here's the flip side of that support level we talked about on the DXY chart. Here is the flip side on the Euro USD. Here acting as resistance, you can see it's also a region rather than a level, even on the Euro USD. That's to tell you once again that this is almost one-to-one mirror version of the DXY. And you can see that this is, you can see it's exactly the same time back in August. This is the left inverse head and shoulder successfully formed in August. Here's the head, and this is the potential right inverse head and shoulders pattern forming on the Euro USD. Flip it. Let's take it, see it from the weekly time frame as well. Here it is likely forming as well. Left head and right. You can see also that normally you would expect that after this bounce, normally the DXY strengthens. There's usually serious momentum of major support. You can see that it's currently struggled. There's not much going on from a bullish perspective on the DXY chart. So these are all signs that this may likely be a retracement for the start of this bearish impulse run. On the flip side, for this to reversal pattern to not be the case, if this is to invalidate this potential formation of this reverse trend reversal pattern, which is the head and shoulders pattern, we need to see the DXY take the high, which is the over 20 year high of that was formed back in late September, coming out around September 28 to be precise. That was almost 2 months ago, coming out 114,770. That's a heel of a task, but never write off, never bet against the US dollar. They've proven times with that number this year what they are capable of doing. We're looking at over 20 year highs from the DXY, from the US dollar. So that is still very, 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 very much possible. Never say never in this market, but as things stand now, this is likely. I think the likely scenario is maybe that we may see a potential head and shoulders pattern forming on the DXY, and this happens, we have a measure target. I don't want to talk about the measure target for now, but if this happens, we know what that means for the rest of the crypto, for the rest of the financial markets. This has already been playing out. So far so good. They've been responding very well. They've been rallying so far for just for the start of this trend reversal. Remember I said these are still early signs and early days, and it may still be too early to call that a trend is likely to reverse. I don't think there are so many people who will be calling for a trend reversal at this point, given the state of the market, the current trend. But these are early signs that you should look at, so should be that are worthy of note. Nonetheless, if the trend ends up not reversing, fine and good, but so far so good. The signs are pointing towards a potential trend reversal rather than a continuation. So that is the Euro USD, for instance. Some other charts are already already seen. Some other charts have already responded in for the interim, and we've seen a short-term head and shoulders forming on the USD card, which has played out. We've had it has been validated. Here's the first, the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder, and then we had a close below. Validation of this pattern, which came via a close below that level on 4th November. We had a retest to the neckline as resistance, and you can see that the pattern has almost played out even to inch perfection as to the measure target. That pattern has played out very well on the daily chart of USD card. So trends are already reversing for the in the short term for the market already. Markets are already responding, trends are already reversing for the interim, for the short term, for the market already. So you can also see this happening on the USD CHF chart as well. You can see how we've had not a head and shoulders, but a double top pattern for the USD CHF, and we've more than exceeded the measured target for this measured objective target for this pattern already. So you can see that the measured objective for this double top for the USD CHF, the interim, has already played out, has even more than exceeded the measured objective for this, and you can see that there's a massive double top formation for the USD CHF. So we are currently at the neckline. As things stand, we're currently at the neckline. We've bounced off the neckline perfectly as things stand. So if this is going to play out, this is going to play out for a longer period, for a longer term. This is more like going to be like for a mid-term, which is what this US DXY pattern is forming. It's going to this massive head and shoulders forming on the DXY chart is going to be more like for a mid-term, maybe 6 months, a year time, and but for the interim, we're already seeing trend is reversing for the short term, and major target already hitting our major targets. Our measured objectives are already being met as things stand. So trends are already reversing for the short term. So the question is if the trends are going to reverse for the mid term and also for maybe for the long term. As the case may be, that would depend on how on this neckline for the DXY. So that is for the USD CHF. I'm also going to talk about XAU. Give you more examples. I'll show you more examples on the AUD USD as well. AUD USD as well. Just a couple of examples. Here is the daily time frame. You can see here as well. We have a inverse head and shoulders. Here's the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder. We've broken above this neckline, and I think we've about played to the measure target as well. And we seem to be retracing and trying seeing maybe a potential or seem like a potential retracement from the market as well. So trends are reversing. The XAU, gold, we've seen something similar as well. We've had this this double top, double bottom or triple bottom pattern that's formed on the daily time frame. We've had this neckline which has also been broken, and we've seen this retracement, something that looks like a potential retracement to the neckline, rounded retest from the daily and also from the weekly time frame. So trends are reversing currently as things stand. So our forecasts has already been playing out inch perfectly by God's grace, just like we envisaged. So the Bitcoin chart I'm going to be talking about is it's not going to be fair to leave to not talk about what has been happening. Why trends have been reversing for the market. The Bitcoin the reverse has been the case for the Bitcoin, and that has been. You may be wondering why the Bitcoin charts, the Bitcoin, the cryptocurrency market has refused to do, and this is purely down to fundamental reasons. The Bitcoin market seems to, you can see that the very day on the 8th where the market rallied, DXY weekend market rallied, it was that same day that the Bitcoin market had to sell off massively, the most sell off in the 2 day, the most sell off in a 2 day period that has ever happened in the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency market. Many coins and tokens are been massively affected as a result, and that has been down to the mini I call it a mini civil war that has been happening in the cryptocurrency market. You all know, if you've been following, if you're an enthusiast in the market, then you should be aware of what has happened within the past couple of weeks in the cryptocurrency market. The FTX saga has been the deciding factor for cryptos of late. So that is why the cryptocurrency market has refused to respond to the current market trend reversals. So the signs were already glaring. I'm going to be focusing on how that's happened, even from a technical perspective. But that will be in another broadcast, not today. I've already taken so much of it myself. I'm just going to be talking briefly on the Bitcoin market and giving you why it has failed to respond to the current trend reversal from the market. So thank you very much. I hope you got value from this. If you did, please let me know in the comment section. Always remember that this is for educational purpose and not to be treated as financial advice. Financial asset trading is a risky affair, so always endeavor to carry out your own research before entering any trade. So do have a lovely trading week ahead. Bye bye. God bless you.